Hello, Ritual Society gamers. So I'm going to be leading you in what's called a tabletop role-playing game, or a TTRPG. There are a lot of different styles of TTRPGs. The most popular and famous one is Dungeons and Dragons. We will not be using the Dungeons and Dragons mechanics or rules because they're rather complicated, and we're doing what's called a one-shot. It's just one piece of a story. You could think of it as maybe a chapter, but a chapter that is complete. Will have a beginning, middle, and end. Whereas Dungeons and Dragons, there are one-shots, but typically it's a long campaign, and their rules are complicated, and the characters are quite involved and get really, well, they level up, they get more complicated, and we're just going to take like a snapshot, and we're going to put those complicated mechanics to the side so we can focus on the role-playing, because our goal here is to learn the meanings of the court cards well. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose a court card, and you're going to do your best to impersonate that court card, to embody that court card. So hopefully you have got your rule book, and you've either printed it out, or you're just going to take notes. You don't have to print it out, and you've created your character. Now, to do that, you've chosen a court card. So I'm going to use, for an example, this little deck. It's a mass market deck, and I think they did a pretty good job converting Dungeons and Dragons into the characters and beings of a tarot deck. All right, let me grab a court card. This is funny, I'm going through. Okay, we got the Knight of Cups. All right, so here's our Knight of Cups. So if you're on screen, when it's your turn to talk or to say something, you're going to hold up your Knight of Cups. You can put it in front of your face if you like, if you're feeling shy, but just hold it up for a moment so people can see who you're supposed to be embodying. So you're going to play this like this. I kind of think of this person as the person that love bombs, but maybe don't go that hard. Or you could, there are the positive and negatives of every personality. So you're going to hold it up when you're speaking. You need to stay on screen the whole time, obviously. And that way the people who are watching, as well as your fellow players, will be thinking about you as this character. So you're think of them as an archetype for the sake of this game. So you'll need to have your deck of cards with you, sorted into your minors, your court cards, and your majors. You won't need the majors. You can put them to the side, but have your cards with you because we may be drawing from the minor cards. So if you're on screen, actually on screen or off screen, you're going to want to have your deck separated into major, minor, and court cards, and you will be playing with court cards and minors. You don't need to worry about the majors right now. This is all true if you're off screen. If you want to play by contributing to the chat, you will also be choosing a court card to be your personality, and you're going to use an abbreviation system in the chat so we know who you're trying to be. So if you're being the Queen of Swords, you would do QS as your name. So QS would come up, and you would say, I've been thinking this over, and I think that this course of action may not be so great. Then if I don't see that comment and it feels relevant, the moderator will call it to my attention. Now, if you're participating in the chat, your comments in the chat should be, think of yourself as you're part of the chorus. You are commenting on the action. If your comments are relevant and may affect the action, I may pull that comment into the actual gameplay. But you are not an active player. So you can participate, but you're not going to affect the direction of the play. Although a player may see your comment, it may influence what they do. The other thing that you can do off screen is if a main player needs assistance, they're not sure what to do, they may ask for a volunteer from the audience to be their retainer. And they may say, can I have a retainer to investigate such a thing, to go over to the bar and get me a cup of mead and bring it back because I don't want to leave the table or something like that. And that will get incorporated into the play of the game. Let's see, what else do I need to tell you? Telling the story. All right, so think of me as the game master, as the person who I'm not telling the whole story. I am giving you the outline. I'm not giving it to you up front, but the outline is going to evolve over a period of time. But what the main players do is going to affect what happens, excuse me, in the story. Because this is a one-shot, a controlled thing, I do know what I want to have happen at the end so that we have a natural conclusion to our story. But how we get there is determined by the characters who are playing on screen. Now, one of the mechanics of a tabletop role-playing game that I really enjoy is, excuse me, is that players may have relationships with each other. And so I am going to incorporate that, but not with the full mechanics of it. So I'm going to incorporate that, but without all the rules. So I'll be asking at the beginning of the game, main players to establish some kind of relationship with the other people that they're playing with. And it may have to do with their suit. Like if we have a couple of people who are playing in the suits of swords, I may say, well, do you know each other or know of each other because you have the same suit, something like that. So you could be thinking about that in the back of your head, and that may affect the players who are just in the chat. They may feel some affiliation with a main player if they have their suit. Or perhaps the level in the court card, like maybe all the pages were students together or something and they know each other somehow. But that's not necessarily what's going to happen, but it's up to you. So I'm going to be asking the players on and off screen to contribute to the story, both through their personalities as well as how they're relating with other players. And I'm going to ask you to be as consistent as you can with the court card that you have chosen. And you can choose it randomly or you can choose it deliberately. Let me see if I can come up with a good example. Okay, let's say you chose the Knight of Pentacles. It would be inappropriate for the Knight of Pentacles to be very sharp-witted and punching into the conversation and telling people what to do, being very opinionated. That would not be Knight of Pentacles energy. They would be a little more considered and slower moving. So, try to stay with that character as much as you can. And it should be a really fun learning experience because you're not only embodying your card, but you're trying to be aware of the other person's card so that you can react to them, or not respond, interact with them in a way that would be consistent with those personalities. You wouldn't talk to the King of Swords the same way you would talk to the Page of Cups. You would speak to them differently if you're wise. So I would not cross the King of Swords. Yeah. So I think that's it. I will be making a Google form available to everyone who wants to play, to everyone who wants to play and be on screen. Please don't volunteer to play unless you're willing to be on screen for the entire session. The session could go as long as 2 hours. So you need to, sort of schedule that into your calendar so it doesn't feel like oppressive to you. Just be prepared mentally. So I'll have a Google form for on-screen players. That way I'll know who you're playing, so I know the cast of characters that I'm going to be working with. And remember, it's not just my story. I'm not telling you a story. I'm setting the stage so we can tell a story together. It's a very cooperative style of game. And I think that's tremendous fun. I like playing. I like being a game master. I like it. I think it's a great thing to do. And I'm going to try to keep the rules as simple as possible so everybody can just focus on the fun and not struggling with, wait, which die am I rolling? We're not going to roll die. We're just going to use cards for this game. I'm looking forward to it very much, looking forward to playing with you and maybe meeting some new people, or maybe just having fun with old friends in a new way. Take care. See you in March. Bye.